Hey, Nick. How are you?
Hey, Hussein.
Thank you very much for being here. I'm really, really excited to learn about all the great stuff that you're doing. And welcome everyone to episode 3 of the Lost and Found podcast by Streetlight. The Streetlight is my newsletter. I'm Hussein Halak, your host. And today it's the first time we ever have a guest. Nick reached out to me. We're friends on LinkedIn. We like each other's posts. We enjoy each other's kind of digital company, I would say, which is something that is amazing. He has a very unique style, very unique voice, and a very unique stand as well. So I thought, let's have a conversation. Let's meet as if this is the public, cafe. We're meeting in a public cafe with all of you, but in this case you can kind of eavesdrop on the conversation. So Nick, how are you today?
Great. Thank you, Hussein. I tell you, I'm a little disappointed that I wasn't in episode 1. So I guess episode 3. So I'm in early. So that's good.
I'm not sure I was even in episode 1.
So yeah, it's good to see you. And
Thank
like you
you.
said, we're friends on social media, and I've been following you on LinkedIn and your Substack or whatever that thing's called, where you put the newsletters. And I just really resonate with a lot of your heart speak, the things that you put out there, or just
Thank you,
seem
and
to
I
be so
appreciate that.
spot on. And specifically, the one you did a week or two ago, the one about the perma crisis, I just thought that's when I knew. I said, I want to get to know this human better. This is somebody that really gets it. So I'm grateful that we're sharing space now in this. And like we talked before you started recording, these moments of connection are what's really, really important. We as humans, it's hardwired in our DNA. It's back here in our brainstem. We crave connection, and we're drowning in this. This thing, ding, 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 ding. Okay, this is not connection. This is connectivity, right? And so we don't want to confuse connectivity with connection, true, authentic connection. We've chatted long enough to know that we've proved that we're not AI, that we're not
I know
avatars.
you were telling me that. I was like, that's an interesting thought because that's not the first thing that I would think about, but it is true
Yeah,
right
well,
now
that's
that
that's where we're going, right? So
how
you're
do you
like, oh,
know?
well,
How do you know the other person on the other side is not AI? I saw a few videos that is showing this is a very interesting kind of theme, which is an HR person meeting someone and they ask, say, share your screen, and
mhm.
they want to see if if there is any other app on your screen. I was like, that's interesting. Are they doing a developer interview? They want to see what's on screen, and apparently what they want is they want to see that there's no chat GPT that is giving you the answers to the interview.
Yeah, it's an
And
open
of
book
course,
test.
and it spawned a few videos that were funny in how they kind of hack their way through. So there would be someone sitting here and there's someone sitting down and they're the ones programming. It's all these kind of ways that because if you're hiring someone in a different country, how do you know what's there? How do you know they are who they say they are? So I think that was when you said that sparked this idea, or it reminded me of that video. So let's get started with and I know we've been talking and
That's
I know
funny because
how.
I remember a long time ago, a long, long time ago when I graduated from college in undergrad. So this is in the 80s, long time ago.
Mm,
This one of my fellow classmates was getting a fellowship in Switzerland after he graduated to do some doctoral work and this program. And anyway, part of it is you had to be somewhat fluent in German. And he and I had done 3 years of German together. He was pretty good, but he wasn't that good. And so the professor said, well, look, we'll come to my office. We'll make the phone call from my office. And, there was, it was just like this. And the professor's listening and guys listening. And the professor would go, tell him, what the answer is in German and hold his hand over the phone. And then the student would say, ich bin ein,
yeah, for
you
sure.
got it. It was like, it's kind of cheating, but, old
Well,
school.
on the phone, some people sound the same, so it's easier for some people to answer. So I wanted to start. I know we jumped in, and that's a good sign. it happens all the time when I meet people that I feel connected to even though it's the first meeting. And this is the first time me and Nick meet actually. But what ends up happening if someone I'm meeting for the first time and we end up talking before we introduce each other, we end up just jumping into the conversation. Me and Nick, I didn't. We've been talking like for over half an hour before we spoke.
It
We
was
kind of
like, maybe
opened
we
this
should
up.
start recording some of this.
Yeah, and also I didn't even ask you like tell me your story or tell me about yourself. We just jumped in and we just chatted like we're old friends, like we know in each other and just picking up where we left off. So it's always a good sign. I think that's something that I miss when I came to Vancouver. I did like 100 coffees with people I didn't know, and that's I enjoyed it so thoroughly, and I met the most awesome people. So that
Yeah.
I wanted to go back to that tradition. So I reached out to me and Nick connected, and I asked him, let's do a no agenda kind of talk, and this is what the conversation is. So Nick, just before we jump into other topics wherever we want to go, and I have a ton of questions, not like an interview, I'm just curious. Let's start first with introducing yourself, who you are, and how would you like the people to know you, whether it's what you do or how you think. Just over to you. How would you like me to know you and like the people who are listening to know you?
Yeah. Well, I'm just a guy who wears a kilt. I ride a pink fuzzy bike that I call the pink Cadillac, and I have a little dog who's a live teddy bear. And that's pretty much it. Right.
That's
And so
amazing.
I accidentally founded a, a global movement that started 10 years ago in 2015. We're now a 501c3 nonprofit based out of Portland, Oregon. And it's all about spreading love and kindness around the world. And it's called Pink Socks Life. Pinksocks.life is the website and the Instagram account, so you can go check us out. And it literally is about pink socks. I mean, there are pink socks and puzzle pieces and mustaches. Originally, when we first started giving away pink socks, it only had the mustaches, but then I did this TEDx talk in San Francisco in 2017, I think it was. And I added the puzzle piece to represent the power of connection, pink socks connecting people all around the world. And it's based on this ethos of gifting, right? So that someone will give you your pink socks. You'd be wearing your pink socks one day and someone will see them and say, oh, those are cool. That's fun. That's funky. What is that? Well, that's the universe tapping you on the shoulder saying, okay, Hussein, here it is. Put your phone down, stay on the bus and know the stop and say, I'm Hussein. What's your name? Connect. And they'll say, well, I'm Sam, Susan. Hey, it's good to see you, Sam. It's good to see you, Susan. Wait a minute. Let me reach in my bag here. I think I got something for you. And then you pull out a pair of pink socks and you give them their pink socks. The instructions are on the back. I just told you that, but so in case you forget, we want you to give pink socks. It's all about gifting. And the label on the front says this: the world is full of good. When you believe it, you see it. Keep doing that. Yeah. So, we both wear glasses. And so how you view the world, the lens that you see through, if you see the world through a lens that says the world is full of good, when you believe that, you will see it. You got to keep doing that. There's so much good all around us, Hussein, every day and every now, so much good. It's oftentimes difficult to remember that because we're getting fire hosed, with fear. Fear, 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 fear. We have to put these down every once in a while, right? To put this down, you have to go out. You have to connect. Like I say, go to a coffee shop, go to the post office, stand in line. There's a bunch of people standing there. And if you want to go see a bunch of pissed off people, go to the post office because everybody's there. They're in a hurry. Nobody has any patience. It's a great opportunity to just turn to the person behind you and start a conversation, say, how's it going? Connect. And that's really what it is. And over these 10 years, we've gifted over 300,000 pairs of these all around the world. And when you go to our website, we provide pink socks at our cost. You get them by the dozens, 1 dozen, 2 dozen, 3 dozen, because it's not just about you wearing the pink socks. It's also about you gifting pink socks to spread it. And
Mhm.
we're literally all around the world. And back in the day when Twitter was fun, before, it just got really fucked up. So anyway, but when Twitter was fun, we had a really good time gifting pink socks, and people would post, tweets about where they are in the world gifting pink socks. And,
Wow, that must have been
now,
fun.
most people have jumped off of that, and, we're showing up on LinkedIn more now, which is nice. So you can follow hashtag pink socks. It's always one word, always plural, hashtag pink socks on there. And you'll see some happy, smiley people gifting pink socks every day at things. So it's in
Wow, so
pinksocks.live.
that's your feed every day? Like your feed every day is just people gifting things and tagging things. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, go check it out. And then I'm Nicholas, Nicholas, Nicholas Adkins, Adkins on LinkedIn. Come follow me over there. I try to repost everybody's pink sock stuff I see every time I jump on there. Pinksocks.life is our website. It's also our Instagram account. So if you want to go to Instagram and see a bunch of happy, smiley people in their pink socks, Pink Socks is really, from a social media standpoint, so much of social media, Hussein, is look at me, look how cool I am. Pink Socks is an opportunity for you to celebrate someone other than yourself. It's an opportunity for you to celebrate what he's doing, what she's doing. Oh, look at what they're doing at their community. Oh, look what they're doing in their hospital. Oh, look what that guy did. Yay. It's a voice amplifier of people showing up with love and kindness, all built around this ethos of gifting and connection, right? And so, there's plenty of opportunities for you to go look at some other shit, whatever the crisis of the day is, right? The perma crisis, as you say, that we're stuck in. There's plenty of places to go get that. Give yourself a break. Follow any account that says they're doing stuff about kindness, like, you found the kindness, place. Great. Follow all those. There's plenty of us out here showing up, trying to get our voice out over the noise.
So
And
how do you accidentally start a global movement?
okay, so in 2000, let's see, where do we go back? How far do we go back? Well, so this is our 10th year. April was our birthday. We gave away the first pair of pink socks in Chicago in 2015. I'll back up before that. So the backstory, and you can dig around on our website,
No, I
pinksocks.live,
want to hear it from you. It sounds it's
and
awesome.
get the
Yeah,
full backstory if you
yeah.
dig
Well,
down.
I mean, like, what is it?
I'm going to
How
tell you.
what
I'm going
was
to
the
tell you. So it
start?
goes like this. In 2010, so I used to be, for most of my adult life, I was a suit and tie guy. I didn't have this beard. I didn't look like this. I was a suit and tie guy. I was a healthcare executive, a COO of a national healthcare company in Nashville, Tennessee. Cufflinks, all that. I was that guy. And in 2010, I went to this thing called Burning Man. Yeah. So it's kind of gotten in the news now, but back then, nobody really kind of heard of what Burning Man was. But what it is this festival in the desert in Nevada. It's a week long, 70,000 people from all around the world come into the desert in the middle of nowhere and survive this thing for a week. It's a really good experiment in living. Can you build a community? Can you build a city? Can everybody get along and sign off on this, this contract, if you will, these 10 principles: radical self-inclusion, radical self-expression, radical inclusion, gifting, decommodification, means there's no sponsorships or logos or any of that stuff. Anyway, all
No
10.
money. I think no
No
money.
money, right? That's the
You
decommodification
kind of
piece.
give you
It's all
exchange
based
with
on
others.
gifting,
Yeah.
right? And, so you, every, 70,000 people kind of sign off on this contract, if you will, these 10 principles, so that this thing doesn't fold in on itself and become Lord of the Flies out there, before the week's over. And so I was at a point in my life in 2010. My dad had just died. We were trying to make some pretty big decisions about the company. Do we sell it? Do we take on some more debt? Do we merge with this company? What do we do? And I said, I don't really know what the answer to that is. I'm going to go to this thing called Burning Man. It's in the desert. I'm going to come back with an answer. So I go to Burning Man. I come back. Now I'm in the boardroom. Like, what? but I'm not in a suit anymore. I'm in blue jeans and a t-shirt, and I hadn't shaved, and I'm wearing Tevas. And they're like, well, how was that Burning Man thing? I said, it was great. And they're like, well, what do you want to do with the company? I said, sell it. I'm out. And they're like, what? Like, yeah. I said, I'm done, man. Like, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to move to Portland, Oregon and become a hippie. And that's what I did. Yeah. So fast forward, that was 2010. Now it's 2015. I got involved with as one of the co-founders of a cool little health IT tech startup based out of Portland. And we had created the world's first open API for asynchronous video file management, secure, HIPAA compliant, asynchronous. What the fuck is that, right? It's basically the ability to securely record, store, and share a video in a healthcare setting, right? So if you got your doctor telling you, your discharge instructions or how to take care of yourself after you leave the hospital, that's a use case. You don't want that video uploaded into the wild. You don't want to see that on YouTube or Facebook. It has to be secure. So we created the technology to do that. And so here we are, sleepy little, backwater Portland. It's not Seattle. It's not New York. It's not the Valley. We've got to get the word out that we've created this thing. So I said, well, let me just look and see. There's got to be a big association of health IT folks, and there was, and they were having their annual conference in Chicago. And I said, look, Andrew Richards, who was one of the other co-founders and our CTO, I said, look, we're going to go to this thing in Chicago. It's going to be 42,000 healthcare IT executives there. It's the Super Bowl for them. They're all going to be in suit and ties. I don't even own pants, Hussein. I only wear kilts at this point. So when I moved to Portland, I met a guy who owns a kilt company.
So completely changed, like 180 degrees.
Months after I got there, yeah. And he goes, Nick. This guy goes, Nick, you ever worn a kilt? I go, no. He goes, you want to try one? I said, yeah. He goes, come on over to the shop. I walked out of there with my blue jeans in a bag. I was wearing the kilt, and that's it. I never went back to pants. I was like, where's this been all my life? And day one, what I discovered from wearing a kilt is you got to wear fun socks because everybody sees your socks. So I went and bought all the fun, crazy, funky socks I could find. T-Rexes, unicorns, cupcakes, rainbows, you name it. All just fun socks.
Now, a kilt is what the Irish wear. That's what a kilt, right?
Right. Most people, that's very good. I'm
they
Irish.
Related
Most
to the
people
Irish,
go right
right?
to Scottish people, but yes,
Scottish
people,
yeah.
Irish people.
Not Irish people, Scottish, yes.
Right. Even, formal things in the UK. But yeah, it's.
Do people wear them? Like, sorry to die. Like, do people wear them like outside of the cultural aspect of, let's say, being Scottish? Or I only see them with bands and stuff, but I have never seen someone wear them in real life. So you actually this is So you wear them and you never came back. Okay, great. Now I know.
Yeah. And so the name of the company is called Stumptown Kilts out in Portland, stumptownkilts.com. The guy that owns his name is Johnny. And I've got, I don't know, 11, 12 of their kilts. I exclusively wear their brand. And then I have some tartans. And so when we think of a kilt, we typically think it's going to be a tartan, a plaid. So like I've got my family tartan that I wear, like I do, that's my dress up kilt, if you will. It's like if I'm going to a formal event or a wedding, a funeral, something like that, I'll typically wear the tartan. But for everyday wear, I wear these Stumptown kilts. And like my go-to, and I like this, can you see this one?
Yes.
Look, it's camo.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Right. See, camo. And I've got 4 of these in this pattern. I've got 2 other patterns that are camo. But yeah, it's a dress, right? So to answer your question, do people wear them outside? Yeah, I mean, I do.
No, I'm saying like outside of cultural setting, because I come from, in Syria, we wear abayas or I think it's called abaya. Like they call it for the ladies abaya, but for the man it has a different. We call them thobe, which means literally in Arabic dress. So they are not pants, and that's what they wear because it's comfortable.
Pants suck.
Yeah. So that's what we wear, but we wear them. But you see people all the time wear them not as a national dress. Like in the Gulf countries, it's more of a national dress. where we are, like, this is the regular people wear them. What I meant by that is that I don't usually see kilts outside of a cultural kind of phenomena, like a band or something. At least me. I'm not saying, of course, I'm not the
Yeah,
measurement.
listen, there's
Yeah, but that's,
I'm
I wasn't aware of a kilt trend, basically.
yeah, I don't think there is one. In fact, I'm not even aware that I'm wearing a kilt. And it didn't take but a few days to get to that point. But I have got people that, you know, that maybe they're new to hanging around me, and we're walking through, a hotel in Vegas or New York or somewhere. And, they're like, "Oh, are you okay?" I'm like, "What?" And they're like, they're uncomfortable, because I'm in the kilt,
Yeah, I could tell.
and, or they'll say, "You're not seeing the people that are looking at you when you go by." And I'm like, "No, I'm not." And
Yeah,
they go, "But I am." I'm like, "Well, okay." So
yeah. So you wore
it's,
them, and now that gave you the opportunity for socks, to
yeah,
be
socks, right?
creative
So
with the
like I
socks,
said, day
because otherwise
one,
the socks barely show unless you're sitting, actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
day one, look, you can't be that guy in the Bermuda shorts wearing the black knee
Yes.
socks. You can't be that geek. You got to wear fun socks. So I had a bunch of
Exactly.
fun socks. So I tell Andrew before we go to Chicago, I said, "Look, here's what we're going to do. Don't dress up. I want you to wear blue jeans, wear a pub, brew shirt, roll your jeans up a little. I'm going to go buy 100 pairs of my favorite socks, the ones that get the most, hey, those are cool." And it happened to be these pink ones with the black handlebar mustache. And so I said, "I'm going to get 50 for my little backpack, and you put 50 in your little backpack, and we're going to go rolling into the McCormick Center in Chicago with all these people in suits and ties. And we're just going to go in there, and people are going to say, 'Hey, what's your story?' And everyone that stops us and does that, we're going to say, 'Well, I'm Nick, and this is Andrew, and here we've got a pair of pink socks for you. And let's get a picture and put it on Twitter and use
That's
this hashtag
genius.
pink socks.'" And listen, Hussein, I just wrote a book, man. So I hope you buy the book, because it goes totally into this story, in chapter one, about how Andrew and I rolled in there, and you know, it just, the hashtag went viral at that conference.
I can imagine.
We instantly had meetings. I mean, literally from the moment we walked in, people were coming up, and we were having meetings like, "Oh, you got to come over here and meet, the chief medical officer at Dell. You need to come meet the CTO at Intel. You need to come over here to meet the CMO at Microsoft. Oh, can you come meet with us at Walgreens?" We, and Andrew and I were just looking here, it's like, what the fuck? Yes. I mean,
That's
we went from
insane.
being totally unknown in the space, a little startup that nobody ever heard of, to, seriously, dude. I mean,
Yeah, that's
and
amazing.
it blew our minds. I mean, we were just like, in retrospect, I kind of joke, we probably should have taken business cards, but we took the pink
This is
socks, and
even
it really
better.
worked.
You're the pink socks guys.
Yeah, man. And so we had so much fun with that. And what it really did was, of course, there's the people that walk by us, rolling their eyes. Somebody call security and get these bums out of here. Those people would walk by and roll their eyes. Well, guess what? Hey, thank you. You're not the kind of people we want to work with.
Immediate
But thanks
filter,
for
definitely.
showing
That's
your
an
hand.
immediate filter. Yeah.
Immediate, right? So, there was this, okay, you're a douchebag. Thank you. We don't want to work with you. But the people that, gravitated toward us, the connections were made. Those were people that still are, still are connections today. And so we did that conference. We had a ton of fun. We're now, on the radar of everybody in the space that we want to be in. And we continue to go to conferences that year, and we continue to gift pink socks, and it kept growing. And like, "Oh, people, can we have some pink socks?" Well, of course you can have some pink socks. And and more on Twitter, more fun. And so a year cycle went by, and now it was time to go back to that same big conference. And that next year it was going to be in, I think it was in Orlando. It's either Orlando or Vegas. They always do the circuit, Chicago, Orlando, Vegas, and repeat. I think it was Orlando. And so I told Andrew, I'm literally sitting on my sofa, and, he's like, "Well, what are we taking, to Orlando?" And I go, "We're not taking pink socks." I said, "Look, we had fun with that. It was great. We did it for a year, you know, but we got to do something else. We can't repeat it." It's like, it's like Elvis Presley, right? Like Elvis. There's young Elvis, and then there's that old, fat Elvis. And so I wanted Pink Socks to go out as young Elvis, not as old Elvis.
Okay.
And literally, I'm saying this to him. And all of a sudden, somebody sends me a DM on Twitter and says, "Hey, Nick, did you just send Pink Socks to somebody in the Netherlands?" I went, "No. Why?" And they go look. So I look. What? There was a guy in the Netherlands that has sourced Pink Socks on his own and was gifting them in the Netherlands to help drive awareness for the work that he was doing with Alzheimer's and dementia care. And I just went, and Hussein almost immediately, another person sends me a DM. "Hey, Nick, did you just send some Pink Socks to somebody in Wales?" There was a guy in Wales that was sourcing Pink Socks and was gifting them in Wales to drive awareness for the work
No
that
way.
they're doing with ataxia, which is a rare disease. Just at that moment, we knew that Pink Socks had become a thing. It had gone organic. That people were doing this on their own to help celebrate and drive awareness for the work they were doing. And I said to Andrew, "Get a bigger bag. We're taking more than 100." And that's what we did. And so that's how it started. And it's just never really slowed up. And so we kept doing that through the years. And then 2017, I got invited to do a TEDx talk in San Francisco at the Herbst Theater. And the TED people, they said, "Look, you know how this works is you're here now. After this, it's going to go." And that's what happened. And, I got invited to start doing talks all around the world about Pink Socks. And, and it was funny when the TED people called, they said, "Hey, we'd like for you to come do a talk in San Francisco." And I said, "On what?" Like telemedicine. That was kind of the big
Yeah, that was
application for
what you did.
our software was in telemedicine. I go, "On telemedicine?" And they go, she said, "No, we want you to come talk about the Pink Socks movement." And that's the first time I'd ever heard it referred to as a movement. And I even told her, I said, "What?" I said, no, it's not a movement. It's just a bunch of people
You
having
didn't even
fun,
believe that.
basically on Twitter, gifting each other these pink
Oh
socks.
my
I said, "If
God.
it's not a movement," she goes, I said, I'm totally come talk about telemedicine." She says, "No, it's a movement. And that's why we've called you. And we want you to come tell your story on the TED stage because your story is worth sharing." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And so that's how, we did it. And I, like say in 2017, we added the puzzle piece to represent the power of connection, and went down there and, I gave the talk, and uh, that just spawned other talks, and it just grew and grew and grew. And so now, Pink Socks is not just in healthcare, it's in all kinds of verticals. I guess it was 2019, we got involved with schools in the US. Um, we could do a whole 2 hours talking about that, but there was, and this is also in the book, 2019. Yeah. There was a school teacher in, El Paso, Texas. Her name is Blancas, Miss Blancas, little first graders at a school in El Paso, a bilingual school. So, all the kids pre-K through 5, all the kids come in speaking Spanish, and then they really don't even start English until maybe the first grade. So the pre-Ks and the kinders are, all it's in Spanish, and then they transition through to, by the time in the first grade, they're using English. It was Dan Monroe out of Arizona. He had seen a post that this first grade teacher had put on Facebook that had gone viral about how she was teaching her kids, her little first graders, about kindness and how she was doing that in the classroom. And he shared that with me, and I was like, "Oh my goodness." And then another Pink Socks person in Pittsburgh, Larry Joya, reached out to Miss Blancas and said, "Hey, I'm going to send you some pink socks. I saw your Facebook post, and I'd love to gift you some pink socks." So she got pink socks. And that's when I really was like, oh, now they both have sent it to me. I'm watching it. I'm like, well, that's adorable, what Miss Blancas is doing. And I reached out and I said, "Well, listen, how many kids do you have in your class? We'll just send you socks for all the kids." So I sent her 33 pairs of pink socks. And 2019 was, the level of shit was way less, but it was still, there was a lot of shit going out, just like, oh God. So having positive stories, seeing things to celebrate was great, just like it is now. It's no, we're even happier to see happy stuff now. But in 2019, we were so grateful to see these little first graders in their pink socks. And Miss Blancas was a prolific social media poster. I mean, Facebook, Twitter, she was great. So you see her, every Monday, her class was coming back, in their pink socks, and she's teaching kids about kindness and empathy and compassion and cooperation and inclusion and anti-bullying, all the stuff that grows good humans, Hussein, right? And it was, we're just like, yes, oh, so good. And when school came back, I said to Miss Blancas, when the kids came back after the summer break, now they're second graders, I said, how about this? Why don't you get with the second grade teacher that they're moving up into? And I'll send enough pink socks for your new first graders, and your second graders who already have their pink socks, they can come in and gift your new first graders their pink socks. And we'll just have fun with that. So, and it was adorable, right? And so that's what we saw. We're all like this. Our hearts are exploding. Oh, man, it's just beautiful. And fuck, Hussein. There was a shooting at a Walmart in El Paso, mass shooting. A bunch of people got killed. And that Walmart was really close to the school. And it's like where all the families that go to that school, they shop there. So everybody knew somebody. There's 0 degrees of separation from the tragedy. And like, it was in their community right there. And so we went from up here happy to down here sad just in an instant. And I thought, man, what do we do to help these teachers teaching kids about kindness? The world is full of good. And then something like that happens right there. In their neighborhood, it happens. So I reached out to Ms. Blancas. I said, hey, can you put me in touch with the principal? I reached out to her and I said, listen, I'm so sorry for what's happened there. We want to try to help. How many pairs of pink socks would you need for the whole school? Teachers, cafeteria workers, bus drivers, coaches, all the kids, admin, everybody. What do you need? So we lined that up, and they put together a kindness pep rally day, and Julie Reister, one of our board members from Denver, Kimberly George was on our board at the time from Chicago, and myself, we flew in to El Paso, and we gifted 1,337 pairs of pink socks to that school. Yeah, right. And when we had the kids do it, and the fifth graders gift the fourth graders gifted the third graders, and so on. So we had a kindness pep rally, thanks to Miss Blancas. And it happened to be her birthday as well. So we were seeing all the kids, and they were doing kindness cheers, and, it was too much, and all the teachers had built a curriculum to use the pink socks every week, on Mondays, having a class period that day, teaching those attributes about kindness, what they call the social emotional learning curriculum, which is very important, right? It's those are the learning about kindness is the best lesson. Because these little humans show up later as big humans in the world. And so that was how we got involved with schools. And then I tell you, Hussein, fast forward a year to 2020, we had a virus hit, right? Pandemic. Remember, we're on lockdown and we're quarantined, and everybody's having to stay home. School that fall came back, and they're like, well, do we go back to school? Do we do hybrid? Do we stay and do video? Well, their school chose to do hybrid. And so some of the kids would come in, some of the kids could stay home, et cetera. Our first grade teacher, Miss Blancas, got COVID. And so when in 2019, we're at the Kindness Pep Rally singing happy birthday to her. And the year later, in 2020, she's in the ICU in El Paso. She's having her 35th birthday in the ICU. And Miss Blancas would spend 11 weeks in the ICU. And on December the 28th of 2020, she died in the hospital. I think about Miss Blancas. Her name was Celine Blancas. I think about her every day. I miss her every day. I'm grateful for her legacy of teaching kindness, how she's remembered. A local ABC affiliate in El Paso picked up the story that she had died from COVID and that she had been using pink socks, and that the whole school there, Dr. Sue A. Shook Elementary in El Paso, Texas, the Socorro Independent School District, and they picked up her story. And then the national media picked it up. And for the end of January, less than a month later, we had 20 schools from all around the country reach out to us and say, hey, listen, we want to get pink socks at our school to continue the legacy of Miss Blancas. We want to teach our kids kindness, and we want to use those pink socks. How do we get them? And so where to this point it was, and it still is, all about gifting and having fun, we looked at each other, at the board meeting and said, what do you do with this? And I said, we go all in on this. I mean, I just said, here's the chips. We push them all in on helping these schools, all in. If these schools want pink socks, we're going to get them pink socks. And that's what we did. 34 schools in 9 different states all around the country, pre-K through high schoolers, using pink socks to help teach kids to be kind, love themselves, love each other. That it's all about cooperation, not competition. That we're all part of this one beautiful thing, that's, man, the country right now is so fractured, so divided, so polarized, us versus them. Here was a way to lean into something that I said, well, how can I help make a difference? What can I do to not get consumed with the shit, the fear, that's the negativity of all of this. And so the schools and the teachers was a great thing to put energy into. And, we, as a 501c3 nonprofit, we rely on donations, through philanthropy, corporate friends, grants. A lot of that grant money, proposals you have to send in to get grants. A lot of the educational stuff to fight gun violence. And in fact, Dr. Sway Shook, after the shooting in, oh man, what was the school shooting? There's so many of them.
Uvalde or
Uvalde, thank you.
Yeah.
The shooting in Uvalde. After that happened, our original school, Brook Elementary, they put it together a contingency of teachers and parents and student ambassadors. Dr. Sue Shook Elementary's kids gifted Uvalde their pink socks.
Mm.
Yeah. So they drove over to Uvalde and gifted those kids pink socks.
I think it's such a.
But let me just finish.
Please continue.
That folds into the stuff that you're, trying to help every day. Is unfortunately when after this election cycle, those grant proposals, a lot of the money that went for like children's mental health and gun violence, those were grants that came through either the NIH, the National Institutes of Health, or the Department of Education. So that's where we had the majority of our grant requests going into. Those got gutted. And so I've been having to, tell school principals and individual teachers, I'm sorry, we don't have the money for your pink socks.
No.
And, so we've reverted to just, instead of gifting a whole school, you just gift an individual teacher, whether it's a first grade teacher or a second grade teacher, kindergarten teacher, just to keep it going, until, and that's the really reason I wrote the book. I need to try to find some revenue stream to offset the loss of potential grant money, so that we can keep gifting pink socks. And I tell you, being a business guy, this is my first time to do a nonprofit. When you go out and you raise money as a startup, or, you're asking for capital, go to see these VC folks. Look, it doesn't hurt your feelings when they tell you no. You just go to the next one. Okay, great. I'm on Sand Hill Road. I'm seeing everybody today. Boom, great. I'm going to be in Boston next week. Boom. You just go, you pitch, you show your thing.
It's just part of the process.
Right. It's like hockey, or soccer, shots on goal. You just got to take the shot. And you don't take it personally when they say no. This thing has really been a personal challenge for me, because when people tell me no now, I take it personally. Like, what do you mean you don't want to help these school teachers teach kids to be kind? Are you kidding? And it's been some personal heartache along the way on that. But then the good shows up always, and right in the last minute, there's a great donor who comes in and says, "Hey, how much do you need? We'll do this." Right, great. So we're just grateful. But for all of the people who voted for this mess that we're in, I'd like to invite you to reach out to me, because I want to connect you with the school teachers that I'm having to write the note to tell them why they're not getting their pink socks. I want you to write the note and tell them why. Yeah. So that's where we are, Hussein. And, we cannot always control governments and politics. That's obvious at this point. But what we can control is how we show up, one person at a time, one smile at a time, one pair of pink socks at a time. Yeah. How we show up in line at the post office, line at the grocery store, on the bus, on the train, on the plane. One person at a time. How we show up with kindness and love, respect. Yeah. That's how we change this. That's how we change the world. Okay. Is by just being nice. Yeah. And, it's this time of you and I sharing space together, just getting to know each other. Well, we've already felt like we knew each other because we've been following each other's posts. And so we're like, great, this is somebody I really want to connect with and have a deeper connection. And, so the invitation that I like to put out to people is like, look, if pink socks isn't your thing, okay, find what is your thing. Is it a hat? Is it a funky tie? What is it? Is it a flower? Whatever your thing is that can spawn a connection, that can get somebody to say, hey, that's cool. I like that. Boom, do that. Anything that will get somebody off of this and onto you. So you can say, hey, do that. That's what you got to do. And so take your earbuds out, lay your phone down, and look at people on the train. Just talk to people. I tell you, we have a van, Pink Socks Life van. You'll see that on the Instagram account and on the website and stuff. It's in the book as well. I did a year and a half in the van life, and I drove all over the country. All 48 states, Mexico, Canada. From Vancouver, I did all the way up to Nova Scotia. I was at Gampo Abbey, where Pima Children lives, as far as you can go before you hit the North Atlantic. Lots of people along the way, lots of stories, lots of heart speak that I met along the way. And some of those stories are in the book. I'd be filling up the van, diesel without fail, because the van, when you go to the website, it's, it's got this big love more on the sides and the back, and it's got the world is full of good when you believe you see it. People will look at, across the gas pump, and they'd say, hey, what does that mean? What's that all about? And I just look at them. I'd look at them, and I'd look back at the van, and I looked at them again. I said, well, what does it mean to you? And they said, well, we need to be kinder to each other. That's exactly what it means. And they say, hey, well, and I'd say, what's your name? And they say, Bob. I say, hey, Bob, I'm Nick. And they said, I got something for you. I'd reach in the van, I'd give them some pink socks. And usually a hug. Hussein, a lot of the time, they would say, hey, do you got a minute? Yeah, I got a minute. I'm doing van life. I got nothing but time, right? And I said, well, let's just pull over here, right here, and park under this tree. And, I'd get a couple of soccer chairs out, and we'd sit there, and sometimes sit there for an hour, just talking, just getting to know somebody, just connecting. And a lot of times, Hussein, and what you'll find when you start wearing your pink socks, because I'm sending you some, that, is people, when they say, hey, I like those, great. Don't just say thank you and keep going. You got to stop. You have to stop and say, hey, I'm Hussein. What's your name? And then hopefully you got your bag with you, and you're going to give them a pair. That person that says, hey, do you have a minute? Yeah, you have to say yes. You have to say yes. Because you're about to hear some heart speak, some authentic stuff that this person needs to share with you. You have got to hold space with this. You're about to get a full on dose of humanity. You're about to your empathy level is about to go through your hat. Okay. And you will hear, they're rarely happy stories. They're usually stories of loss. They're stories of, my wife just died from cancer, or I just got a cancer diagnosis. My daughter's in rehab. My son just OD'd. On and on and on. I was thinking about killing myself today. Everyone that we go past on the street, sit by on the bus, every single one of us has got a hurting heart. Everyone wants a hug. Everyone needs a hug. Everyone feels so lonely. And it's a lot of it's because of this fucking thing, you know, this illusion of, social media, these are my friends. No, they're not. People are starving for authentic connection. And, the invitation is have every single one, every opportunity that comes by, don't miss that. You've got to stop and say, yeah, it's good to see you. I've got a minute. Absolutely. I can be late to that next thing. That's how we change the world. That's how we do this, one person at a time. So I'm grateful that we're doing it right now. Yeah. So
Well, I think it's very interesting when you're saying, first of all, incredible story, and thanks for sharing that. Not just because the story itself is incredible. I want to be clear. Thank you very much for this offering of yourself and your journey. We go through different things in life and we don't know where it can lead. This is what I'm getting from what you said, in the sense that I love it when you said you accidentally started a movement, because what you did is, in the moment, this is the thing that you chose to do and you chose to pursue. And that led to the other, and that led to the other. You didn't start with, that's, I think, the difference between the idea of, I want to build this grand thing where I just want to, help this person or add value here. Sometimes it leads for, it took you what, 5 6 years before you said, I'm all in. And it sometimes takes that. And I think it's a wonderful story of how one thing leads to the other, and how when you connect to your humanity, when you connect to what it really means to you, whatever that thing that you're doing. I think there is that, the connection that we're missing, and I don't know what you think about this. The connection that we're missing with others is the same connection we're missing with ourselves. How can I connect with someone else if I'm not connecting with me? So I get it that you rage at the phone. I just want to like add to that. I think it's what it steals from us.
yeah.
It steals from us this connection to what we love, what we are passionate about. And I think it makes us, the lack of connection, the outcome of that. It's not the phone itself or social media that does that, even though it does. There is, of course, some negative effects, but I think when we lose that connection, when I lose connection to what I love, when I'm spending all my time rushing and running, trying to make ends meet, suffering, and I have no connection to my vulnerability as a person, and I can't share that with someone else. I think we lose something, and the more we are distant from that, the harder we become. Whereas all it takes is that sharing with someone, that conversation, and what that does, it just connects us again with how we feel, and I think makes us more human. It doesn't, sometimes it solves something, sometimes it doesn't, but I think the sharing of suffering lessens suffering, and I think the sharing of sadness lessens the sadness, and the sharing of joy maximizes joy. So what have you seen? I mean, you connected with others. I so connect to your story, by the way, especially the giving and the working in a nonprofit, like, and the challenges. So what
You
is it
know,
for you?
listen, I'm a business guy. I'm an MBA. I was a type A MBA. Everything's in a spreadsheet. OCD, just crazy,
Yeah,
crazy by the numbers. And
that's what this capitalist system does to us. It actually puts us in these boxes.
there's no way. The people in the early days of Pink Socks, they were like, wow, and they were like, there's no business plan on this. It wasn't even a business. I mean, we didn't, become an incorporated entity until 2019. It became an Oregon nonprofit in 2019. And a year later, we'd get our 501c3 status, as a charitable organization. So those first 4 years, there was no business, there was no plan. We just kind of showed up and went with it. We let it flow. So it was. I've got this friend, John Sten, down in San Diego. He's got this mantra. It's one of my personal mantras I use every day. It's love more, fear less, float more, steer less. In fact, that's where the love more came from. Love more, fear less, float more, steer less. Just
I love
just
it.
show up, man. Just go with it. Just be intentional with loving yourself, being kind to yourself, being patient with yourself, being graceful with yourself. If you could do these things, start with you. You have to start with you. Guess what? You can start doing that with other people. But it really starts, you said it, it really starts, with me. We're not going to have the ability, our hearts aren't going to open up to allow us to share love, to be loved, to love others unless we love ourselves. If we're not kind to ourselves, we're not going to be kind to anybody else. It's that thing, hurt people hurt people. Well, yeah, dude, there's a lot of hurt people out there because that's what we're seeing. A bunch of people need a hug.
Yeah.
And, I can't think of the guy's name, but he's running for senator in Maine, the state of Maine. And he was doing a town hall. And I see this thing. It's because I'm grateful to see it. It's coming through my Instagram feed all the time. But all these people come to this old town hall meeting and they're all pissed off, and there's a bunch of mega people, and they're all, yeah. And he's like, whoa, 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 look. He goes, how he frames it is, if your neighbor's house was broken into, they were robbed. Okay. And it's because the people in the room, there was starting to be some tension between, the right and the left, like, the mega people and then non-mega people. And, and how he calmed that down and totally just said, look, if your neighbor's house gets robbed, you don't get mad at your neighbor for being robbed, because what has happened here and what is happening is they've been robbed. You've been robbed. You've been robbed of critical thinking. You've been robbed of the truth. You've been robbed of empathy. You've been robbed of kindness. So you're going to have to treat this just like how you would treat your neighbor whose house has been robbed. It's an opportunity for people to show up with compassion, kindness, with love, patience. That's what's happening. And, and it's, the getting lost of like one side saying, oh, no, I'm not brainwashed. You're brainwashed. And no, I haven't been brainwashed. Hey, listen, we've all been brainwashed. All of us. There's no sides on this. And so if we just chill out for a minute, let's go get a coffee. Let's go talk one-on-one and say, look, I'm going to listen to you and you listen to me, and we're not going to argue. And
But what would you say to those people who would say to you that, yeah, that's on the personal level, but there is, let's say, there are other levels that we have to operate at. We have to, like that. If you talking to your neighbor and sorting things out will not solve the challenges in the country, on that level. What would you say to that? And I'm not saying you should agree or not, but like, what would you say to those people who sitting on the sidelines and saying this doesn't help, and they're waiting for the one thing that would help?
Dude, stop waiting. There's nothing. Listen, there's nobody coming to save this. It's us. It's like waiting on it's like looking for happiness. Okay. You'd be like, if I could go do this, I'd be so happy. Or if I would go there, or if I had this much money, or if I went in this, if I had that job, I had this. Dude, happiness is not something that's pursued. Happiness is a state of being in the now. And, there were so many things I liked about that post you did, the perma crisis. In that you mentioned, from a business standpoint, we've really done great. We've removed so much friction. We can go fast, fast, fast. We need friction. We've got to slow down. Speed, these things and technology and people responding behind the screen, I can say, mean things and not have any repercussions because I'm not really, like we're not face to face doing
There's no
that. People
consequences.
being it ugly, you know, fifth grade girl being ugly stuff, just like you're a grown up. Stop talking like that online to each other. Slow down, put some friction in it and go for a walk. Take your shoes and socks off and put your feet out there on the grass or in the sand or on the rocks and just ground yourself. Just get back into your body, out of your, you got to cut this off for a minute. It's too much noise. Your limbic system is being bombarded, too much dopamine. You've got to get back in here. Do some breath work, do whatever you've got to do to just catch a breath. And,
Yeah.
this summer, I don't want to get too personal of detail, but I was going down to see the Grateful Dead and Co., which is the Grateful Dead. They were doing their 60-year anniversary show, 3 nights at Golden Gate Park. So on the way down, stopped and a friend who kind of lives in Southern Oregon, and it's, Portland's very blue, and then the rest of Oregon's red out there. And so where she lives, kind of in the woods in Southern Oregon, it's got some acres in the woods, and she's out there, well, she's full blown, she's old school, Chan, Q, all of that.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
yeah, big time. And I'm like, and she even tells, she goes, I've lost friends. People won't talk to me. I've been blocked. I've been ghosted. My family, because it's literally batshit crazy. Okay. I mean, and I almost didn't, she said, come stay, on the way down, spend some time. It's beautiful here. Okay. So I went with the intention of, I'm not going to make any arguments. We're not going to get into political stuff. I'm not going to, we're just going to stay neutral with her. And I, whatever the first thing, she went right into it. And I just said, listen, I'm 180 degrees the other way philosophy, this philosophy here that you've got going on. I'm way over there. And she goes, I know. I said, so look, but I just want you to know that I love you and I respect you. And I just want you to be able to give yourself permission someday if new information becomes available to you, right? I want you to give yourself the permission to maybe change your mind. I'm not going to try to change it. I just want to ask you if at some point in the future information becomes available, that would you just at least allow yourself to change? And she said, yeah. And so I ended up staying a second night because I thought it was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to get out of here first thing in the morning. I can't take him. No, I said, I'm going to purposely stay here another night and spend all day here. And, she just talked and we talked and we never argued. And never, raised any energy level. It was all just this. And I would just listen and listen and listen and listen. And every time she would say, I would say, well, I don't agree with that. In fact, I completely disagree. And, yeah. And so when we left, I hugged her and said, hey, do that for me. Okay. If give yourself the permission to change your mind at some point if you want to. And that's how we left it. And she's like, come back anytime. But yeah, there's some serious indoctrination stuff that's been going on for a long time. And, it's very targeted things that are happening. I mean, I was just watching something on Instagram right before you and I connected, and it was a woman doing a great commentary on this AI video that, he's flying the jet, dumping a poop up. That's so, that's not just propaganda. It's indoctrination. It's aimed at teenage boys. This is weaponized at this point. And, it's just, yeah, I mean, I'm grateful that I'm old enough to remember life before phones. We could go go to the concert and nobody had a phone, right? So you're actually listening to the music, you're actually dancing. I've gone to see several shows at the Sphere in Vegas, and the optics in there are fantastic. And you look around, and there's so many people, filming it, like, hey, dude, enjoy this. You paid a lot of money to come see this. Why don't you actually be in the moment, in the now? There's plenty of stuff online that you can, professional photographers and videographers that have stuff that can show off how cool the Sphere is. But no, it's just a room full of people on their phones. It's a thing, man. I wish the phones would just for a minute, give us, what if they didn't work for, I don't know, a week? Just so
I think we might get there. We might get there for several reasons. I think
hey, listen, people, and you don't have to say if you're this person, but if you wake up in the morning and you've got your phone on the nightstand, and the first thing you do when you wake up is reach over and pick this up,
definitely guilty of that.
So
I'm
we've got a rule here that
definitely guilty of
we
that.
don't. There's no phones in bed, and in the morning we have to wake up, we have to get coffee, we have to do our meditation, do a little yoga, all of that. There's a time buffer before we even pick these up.
So you're starting on your own kind of conditions, on your own terms.
Yeah, yeah, and then I'm putting my own parental, parameters on how much screen time I can have, but I
Yeah.
definitely don't, I don't start my day with that thing or this thing, the computer, it's all the same. So it's just,
I'd like to think that is. I mean, it's easy to, because I talk to my kids, and I try to see what really impacts their behavior, and I definitely, not just a believer, I know for a fact is like some of us are cannot kind of stop this addictive, because it is
it's an addiction.
engineered towards that,
Yes.
just like the tobacco industry before engineered the cigarette to be more addictive, and just like anything else that is engineered to be addictive. I think they're engineered to do that, and we, depending on our threshold, some of us, I remember, what is the actor's name that is in Friends?
Yeah, Luke Perry,
Yeah, so
the one who died.
he talked once
No,
about,
not Luke. What was his
no,
name?
no, Matthew Perry.
Matthew Perry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he talked once about his addiction to alcohol. And that, when I listened to him talk about that, it changed my opinion, because before I used to think this idea about self-responsibility, like I can stop myself, why can't you? And I can relate to the mentality, this a mentality of, well, if I can do it, why can't you? Like, if I can build a company, why can't you? If I can make more money, why can't you? If I can maintain a home, why can't you? If you're homeless, it's your responsibility.
Hmm.
And that moment changed things for me, because what I heard, he said, he was, I don't know what the setting is, I think it's a night show, and he was saying that after the first glass he doesn't remember anything.
Hmm.
And he said that basically it depends on, because we think of ourselves like, I think you're like me, you have the same capability. And instead of having empathy to know, no, we're different and everybody deals with things differently. We have this idea of ourselves where we are our bodies, and as long as you're able bodied, everything's fine. And we don't understand our biology, we don't understand how things impact us. So maybe I'm subjected to the same material that you're subjected to, but I am more, let's say, susceptible to being addicted to it than you. And that is, I think, what's happening with the phones, with other material, everything else. And unless, what I'm hearing as well is what you're saying, unless we're willing to sit down and listen to people and have a conversation, we will never know. If I'm measuring everything in your life based on what I am able to do, like, I'm able to do this, why can't you? I'm able to stream, why can't you? We hear it all the time. It doesn't, sometimes it's not like that, but in many ways it's like, you have this world that allows you all this opportunity, how come you are not like that? And I think what ended up happening in the latest this year, if Trump was able to, I think, expose anything, is the complete failure of this system, of the capitalist system. And I'm not talking in regards to ideology. I'm talking about how without rails, it's like, asking people to drive the cars without rules of the road. Let's just not just remove rules of the road, any signs, any traffic lights, and you know what? You don't even have to get a license, and any car is welcomed, and then let's drive the roads. And I think that is what's happening. It's not that the system itself, every system is flawed, there's no perfect system, but unless we're willing to continuously enhance, and unless we're willing to hold it to account to the safety and the well-being of we as a people, like right now you're saying those grants that were taken away, how many kindness, let's say, initiative could have been, and who knows how many people could have been impacted on such an incredible level. And it's as simple as, this act of gifting, which I love, by the way, the simple act of gifting, removing those grants, which are like a blip on the radar, instead of, giving all this money away for all kind of things like war and, the Department of War, or, to Elon Musk, or sending it to Argentina because the
Mhm.
hedge fund manager really need to save their money. Instead of all these things, could have, a simple act of kindness could have changed the generation.
Right.
And
Yeah. I mean, so
that is, I think, the pinnacle of what we're dealing with right now.
yeah, I mean, these are $5. Okay, $5 a pair. The return on investment, the ROI. Say a little second grade girl gets these. She learns about kindness every Monday, all school year. Her and her classmates, her whole school, coming in wearing their pink socks. But that $5, what she learned that year from her teacher in her school about kindness, empathy, compassion, cooperation, anti-bullying, inclusion, all those good things. Well, I don't know, Hussein. What's the ROI on that $5 across the continuum of that little girl's life as she grows to become a big human? Not just in her life, but in her family's life, their community, their city, the nation, the world. For that $5, what the ripple effect of the ROI on that is exponential. So, yeah, I mean, you can't even get a Starbucks for $5. Yeah, it's this thing, Doge, they compiled a list, how they purged a lot of grants. Was they put together a list of 273 words. And if documents contained these words or phrases, nope, nope, nope. And words were like empathy, kindness, social emotional learning, gone, 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 gone. Just and it's
I struggle every day not to curse these people. Like, I just want to go out on social media and just expletives. Like, that's all I want to
yeah,
say
but that's
from
where
morning.
that's where we got to move into this like this guy in Maine's telling us, we're not going to get anywhere that way. The way we're going to advance, you know, humanity and survive is by showing up with compassion
Yeah,
and
working together.
realizing, hey, listen, you've been lied to. I've been lied to. Okay. The Let's find the truth together, and let's start, let's just start with simple things, hey,
And people agree, by the way. I think it,
conversation.
I think it's very important to remember that people themselves, if you look at, let's say, where the population is right now around the world,
Mhm.
everybody agrees on, generally, on empathy, on helping people, on, like, if you look at the biggest demonstration, what people want. The problem is the people in power and the people who are, let's say, what appears in the media and all of that. Yeah, it's bad. Some of it is really bad, but it doesn't represent all of us.
No.
It doesn't represent even a portion of who we are. And I think everybody's getting tired of seeing a reflection that is not our own. Neither our leaders reflect who we are, neither the media reflect who we are. And one of the reasons I started writing on LinkedIn is not because of other social medias didn't exist. Is I was tired of isolating, saying, well, in business you need to be professional and you need to act in a certain way. That's why I love the kilt story and like what you did, because what you did, more important than showing up as a professional, you showed up as who you are and who you were in that moment. And that actually attracted the right kind of people to work with you, and that kind of showing up as the authentic you, as the, you know, not held back by the need to show up in a certain way. And I think we need more of that in our lives right now. We need more people to be themselves, to express themselves, to connect with others as
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah. And it's totally okay and encouraged to show up and say, hey, I'm scared. I'm afraid. I'm lonely. I'm broke. You know, all the things. You know, this persona that social media tries to say, well, oh, look, I drive this car and I'm on this vacation and
Mhm.
my life's just perfect. No, it's not. All of
Nobody's
our
life is
lives got
perfect.
shit in them.
It's bullshit. Nobody's life is perfect.
No, it's I'm gonna share this one story, and I know we probably need to stop, but back to my friend John Sten, Halcyon is his handle, down in San Diego. He tells a story, and I love sharing this story every time. It goes like this: in every now, Hussein, every single moment of the day, we have one foot standing in a pile of dog crap. Oh my God, look at that crap. Oh man, that crap smells. Come here, smell my crap. My crap smells worse than your crap. And in this hand, we're holding an ice cream cone. Look, I've got an ice cream cone. You know, there's, I'm going to have dinner with my friends tonight. My kids are playing football. There's people falling in love. I've got roses that I'm picking. Do you know that there's a room in my house that has a hole in the wall and water comes out of it and I get to get clean? So much cone. Oh God, look, this crap. Oh, crap, cone. And every now we're standing in a pile of dog crap and we're holding an ice cream cone all the time. Every one of us. And what we have to decide is, what do we want to focus on? The crap or the cone? People, all they want to do is talk about their crap. The divorce they got 30 years ago. Every time you get together, they just going to talk about their ex. I can't even go out with you anymore. All you talk about is crap, old crap, not even new crap, just old crap. You and your wife, you're like, we can't go to dinner with them. All they want to talk about is crap. We have to focus on the cone. There's so much cone in life. And what the machine is doing is keeping us focused on the crap. It's creating crap to focus on. It doesn't want us to focus on the good things, the friends you have, those nice neighbors you have, your school teacher who is so great for your kids, and that lady down at the market that's always so nice, and yeah, I'm looking at your house. You know what? You're not living in a box, on a sidewalk. Look at that. You got that cool LA hat.
Well, if you're
I
not
see a lot
focused
of
on the
cone right
crap,
here in this picture, man. A bunch of cone right there.
focused on the crap, how else are you going to buy? You need a
Yeah.
problem in order to buy stuff.
Yeah. But I know you're also, you've got some dog crap. You're standing, one of your foot is in some crap right now. Yeah. But I'm not focusing on that. I'm focusing on the cone. I'm focusing on, just like the sock says, that the world is full of good. When you believe it, you see it. Keep doing that. Focus on the good. It's all around us. It's you. It's not even about the socks. Okay. It's about you. It's about me. Yeah. And that's it, man. Just, we have to go to what we know to be true. We're being gaslit at a level that is fucking fantastic. And we know that's not true. The lies that what? I mean,
Yeah,
when my mother was alive, she would call, and this is back, remember like the Me Too movement and the Black Lives Matter movement and the Wall Street, the 1% movement. Every time, I'd be out there, at the march, and my mom would call me. She lived in the South, and I'm living in Portland, and she'd call me. She goes, "Son, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Mom, why?" She goes, "Well, Portland's just burning down." Oh, like, Mom, turn off Fox News. Turn your TV off. I'm fine. Because what she was being shown was that, and nothing's changed. And here, this ICE bullshit, that building is on a corner. It's one little building down there, and it's not. Mom, I'm fine. Everything's fine. Nothing's on fire here. We're good. You know, it's just, oh, people got to realize
Really,
how we're being duped.
yeah, I really feel that this time that I hate everything they're doing. And I would say that, and when I say they, I mean like the criminal administration, all of the leaders around the world. Actually, like I think
Oh yeah,
we're,
this is bigger than the
yeah,
U.S.
definitely, definitely.
Somebody way up here is
Yeah,
pulling
no,
this
no,
off.
this is a whole, like, this is not new. This is just in shape or form and in speed is changed, but it's not new. Let's not forget 20 years ago, George W. Bush sold everyone on invading Iraq and killed 500,000 people. So I would say, but what is different right now is that the world is waking up and is not having it anymore. I truly believe right now that
That's it. You got
and
to wake up.
that's why I think this is important to have this conversation to engage, and that's why yeah,
Right. And the
yeah,
early spin on
yeah,
this is, they got the woke virus. It's a woke virus. Don't wake up.
yeah.
Yeah, let me tell you, I'm woke as fuck. In fact, I feel like getting T-shirts instead of saying "love more." Mine
Yeah.
just says "woke as fuck."
It's funny. Actually, I think one of the most
Wake up.
interesting things that is happening, like I would say, what was it? I think before, what is it? Maybe 30, 40, 50 years. But I think even I can remember 20, 25 years ago, their movement, and I'm not talking about politics. I'm just talking about something in particular, if you bear with me, is the idea of ethics and principles. And if I don't know if you remember this, but they pointed at, let's say, what they call liberals, they or lefties, and they say they are the degenerates. They are the ones that are, don't stand for principles, don't stand for. And the funny thing right now is they've betrayed everything. Like law and order completely gone. It's I'm not even talking about like where we stand politics. I'm talking about corruption is on a scale that is incredible. Like the stuff that they made. What is it? There was this commentator. He said, "Oh, Hillary Clinton. I don't like her at all, but she said deplorables. They made like the world ended at that time. Now, Donald Trump talks about the rest of Americans in ways that are unbelievable. I mean, he's in a plane and shitting on the American people, and that's completely fine.
Yeah, it's
Aside from the politics of it, which are very important, I think the idea of people in general are not liking this idea of, abandoning all principles at all.
yeah,
Because as you said, what I love about what you're doing is that it connects. It's more than the pink socks themselves. It connects to a human thing that we love to gift, we love to give. It's it's one of the ways we connect with people. One time my daughter told me, she said, your way of connecting is gifting. You love to gift. I always enjoy, picking up gifts for people. So it's part of who we are
fun.
as human beings.
Gifting is fun.
Yeah, exactly. And you basically kind of turned it into a thing where it connects communities, which is something we long to. And the moment you gave people a structure, which is this pink socks, people jumped on it. It's not like you're pushing it and you're convincing it. People want it. They kind of pushed you into it. It's the opposite. It's not like you started a startup and then you galvanize people. No, they pulled you into it. You were even reluctant for several years until they, like, we have to go all in. This shows that people in general, you know have a lean usually towards the generosity, the empathy. This is our natural state, to the point that they pulled you into it. And I think everything else, that people, there's so much money that has to go into trying to gaslight us to not be ourselves,
Yeah.
because this is the easy thing for us. The easy thing for us to connect, have a conversation, connect with people, gift, be empathetic, help people. That's the natural state of being for a human
Yes.
being.
Yes. And yes. And yes to all of that. in the early years, I always gave, somebody would say, hey, I like your kilt, I like the pink socks, I like the van. They would always end up getting a pair of pink socks. Now, I don't always have pink socks with me. And I learned, through the years that I do this every day I'm out. Somebody will say something and I'll say, hey, what's your name? And they'll say, I'm Jeff. Hey, Jeff, listen, I got something for you. Because they've done something that has been a connection, that's been authentic and kind. Like, I like your hat, a nice beard, whatever it is. I say, hey, I'm Nick. What's your name? They say, I'm Jeff. I say, Jeff, I got something for you. And I hand them the sticker. I said, listen. And as I give them this sticker, I say, hey, Jeff, all we have to do is show up with love and kindness. You're already doing that. So just keep doing it. Deal? Boom, deal. That's it. And you get as much bang for the buck giving away, a 35-cent sticker as a $5 pair of socks. The reaction I get from people when they get this, you would think I just gave them $100 bill, but no, it was the stopping and seeing each other. And I always say their name back, right? And I always say these words, it's good to see you. Yeah. And that is the gift. The connection with another person is the gift. Not the token, not the pink socks. This, stopping and saying, hey, Jeff, hey, Hussein, it's good to see you. And that's how we get through this, right? And it's not going to be arguing back and forth and taking sides and, oh, you're wrong, I'm right. It's just going to be patient, right? Because more people are going to wake up. I tell you what, man, this tearing down the east wing of the White House, I guarantee you there's a lot of people going, I don't know if this is the right decision. This may not be my guy. People are waking up. They are waking up. And it's just going to be a long game. But you know what? We're going to be patient. We're going to be grateful. We're going to show up with love and kindness. We're not going to let this fire hose of fear and negativity that they're trying to drown us with. We're not going to believe the gaslighting. We're going to stick to what we know to be true, right? That's when family, close people that and these connections along the way each day, that's how we just stay strong and become stronger, right? We're all part of this one thing. And I do believe it. I mean, yeah, man. I mean, the perma crisis, every day brings its own shit show, right? Like, it's like reading a crazy book. Like, what's going to happen in the next page? Oh God, I can't believe that. It just gets weirder the more it goes along, and that's how this has been. And I think people are reaching a breaking point, and I think this White House thing is a big one. People are just going, okay, enough, I'm out.
Yeah, everybody's
the jet thing was, that's bullshit. I think a lot of people went, oh God, that's what our president's doing. No, I think they're fed up, and I think don't give up, right? Like I told you over on LinkedIn, don't.
By the way, I appreciate that about you. I think that went really well. I love it when people who send their solidarity and conversation in private, not even like they're not even commenting or whatever, just send it in private. I really appreciated that, and that showed the kind of person you are. I think that is what we need to see ourselves in, those small acts of kindness, those small connections. I think we see who we really are, who we are to each other, who we are to ourselves. Nick, this has been, I want to sit and talk with you for another hour, but I know my
We'll do it
co-founder
another
will
day.
kill me if I don't finish some of the work that I need to do.
No, we will do this some other time. You give
We
yourself
will we will sit down definitely like another time. So I want to
give yourself a little time. Let your beard grow a little longer, so we'll have something to gauge.
Do you notice how much I'm scratching this thing? Like it's even small, and I'm like, I can't stand it. I wanna shave it.
No, just let. It goes past a point. I've had this for so long, but I wore a beard like you had for years and years and years, and then when I finally decided to let this grow out, I'd gone to I went to Nepal and hooked up with a friend that's from Kathmandu, and then traveled around India for 3 weeks, and I just said, I just let it grow. And when I came back, I was like, what if I just let it keep growing? And that's all this is lazy. People, oh, I love your beard. It looks great. And I tell it, it's usually some guy that's got a beard. And I go, hey, listen, all this is lazy. You can have this if you just stop cutting it.
I think I don't know if I'm willing to try, because I'm telling you, like, the moment I let it go, like, I can't. There is a certain length that I have to, like, I if I don't remove it, I'll feel like there's something keeping me from breathing. But
Yeah.
anyway, I
Yeah. Every
definitely,
once in a while, I'll have a nightmare. I'll wake up in the morning.
yeah.
I'll have this nightmare that I've shaved my beard. And the first thing I do when I wake up is I touch my, okay, it's still there.
I think the one thing that might push me to do that is that if I actually become as wise as I look, because there's something about a beard that is long, especially a white beard, that inspires wisdom.
Now, this is just old. You got to be old.
That may be something that I will try, but I think Nick, this has been wonderful, and I don't want it to end. I want you to finish. So first of all, I will make a plea on your behalf, which is definitely support Nick in any way possible. You go to LinkedIn, connect with him, see how you can support his work.
Yeah, go to
I
Pink Socks Life, pinksocks.life.
Okay.
Pinksocks.life is the website. Go check us out. And
What do you want them to do? Let's give them an action.
I want you to go in there, and I want you to see what we're doing. And if that speaks to your heart, I want you to donate. There's a donate button on there. We're a 501c3. All your donations are tax deductible. We send you a receipt and all the things for your accountant. If you'd like to get involved in a deeper level, I want you to reach out to me. If you want to be, a corporate friend, a sponsor, that's great. You see some of those on the footer of our website. Check out their links. There's a couple that go to videos, really nice, that we like to partner with companies that are doing good things in the world. You got to check out, got a new book, it's going to tell the Pink Sock story, how a pair of socks became a symbol of love and connection. The release date is November the 4th. Pre-orders now for Kindle, but the hardback and the ebook will be released on the 4th of November, which is voting day. And then we'll have the paperback and the audiobook in the spring. But yeah, we'd love to, all the proceeds from the sale of the book go to the nonprofit. So we're just trying to keep the pink socks flowing, giving away as many as we can. And we're grateful, just grateful for everybody that helps. And, if you're looking for a way to make a difference and, feel good about something, or, even if you just need to clean your karma, if you want to launder your karma, come donate so we can give these schools some pink socks to help these kids. Yeah, I'm grateful for you, Hussein. And likewise, I could keep visiting with you for a long time.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate
Yeah.
you being here, and definitely support Nick and go donate. Nick, thank you, and have a wonderful evening.
You too. Yep.
Thank you guys for being here, and I'll see you on the next episode, which I
All
don't
right.
know what we're going to talk about, as always.
I'll see you on LinkedIn.
Yes.
All right, brother. Thank you.